What's up, everybody? Welcome in another edition of Bets and Ball Games with Edwards and Greeson. Bet Online continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC. Head to Bet Online today and don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE, that's all caps, BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here. All right. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. We're recording on Thursday, December 26th at about 1:15 Eastern. What's up, Jay? How are you?
Doing great. Had an unbelievably great week. Had an unbelievably great holiday. Hope you did, and hope all of our faithful constituents did. It's a wonderful time of year.
I had an excellent Christmas. I had the Ravens first half -4, team total first half over 12.5, team total over 24.5. So that was 3-0. Then I had Nebraska -2 in the first half, unfortunate push, and Nebraska -3 for the game out in Hawaii against Oregon State, and that was a winner. So it was all winners and one push. So Merry Christmas.
It dawned on me that there is no. All right, I quote a whole bunch of movies, and one of the ones I love to quote is Raising Arizona. And as John Goodman's character says, you're in the proverbial catbird seat. Do you know what the greatest catbird seat is in gambling?
No.
To have South Florida plus 2.5, and then the game goes into the third overtime.
Yes.
You don't care.
Yeah.
They can play until Christ our Lord comes back home, and you're still going to cover.
Yep. And I noticed I was at the watering hole down the road Christmas Eve, and I didn't play that game, but I knew the line was either 2.5 or 3, and the favorite teams on the favorite were not happy once it went to the third overtime. Did that impact the over/under?
Oh, it went way over. I mean, it was like
before the overtimes.
No. They South Florida kicked a field goal. I had South Florida +3 and was staring at an improbable push, and then he doinked the field goal off the upright through to force overtime, and then you're riding the overtime roller coaster. Because all right, let me ask you this, and before we get into all the games, we'll cover the bets first. If you're in a position and you've got money on a team plus the 3, and they're staring at like a 45-yard field goal, if they miss it, you can't lose. But
are you talking about the last play of regulation?
Yes, the last play of regulation. You need them to make it to have a chance to win.
But the live line's off the board at that point.
Yes. No, I wasn't talking about hedging. I'm just talking about it puts you in the conundrum of, well, they played terrible in the second half. The only way I can lose is for him to actually make this field goal.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a push. And then he makes it, and then we get to the third overtime, and I got 3 in my pocket, and I'm like clicking over. The Outlaw Josie Wales is on another station. I'm rewatching It's a Wonderful Life for the 14th time because our checks have already cashed.
I think it matters how much money you have on the game.
Fair.
If it's a small amount, probably roll the dice and let's go to overtime. Big amount, you might want to just go ahead and take this push.
Let's just go ahead and push.
Let's just go ahead and push. All right, let's recap the CFP games last week, which, Clemson and Texas was pretty competitive, but the rest of them were blowouts. Notre Dame, Indiana. It worked out beautifully for me, but man, was I lucky because I had not hedge positions. I didn't get involved with Indiana until I got +14.5, +16.5, and +18.5, and they could have easily all been losers. But in the last, 84 seconds, they got 2 touchdowns and a
and a 2, but they
onside
missed
kick,
the other 2.
right? But an onside kick as well. I guess the other 2, I'm sure there were people that were at 7.5 and bought it to 8. They could have had a beautiful backdoor push for the game, but that did not work out. But for my live bets, those last, what was the hell was Signet? Why the hell did he go so conservative? And everybody's made a big deal the time in the fourth quarter when it was 4th and 3. What about the time in the third quarter when it was like 4th and 5 and he didn't go for it down 17? I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
I think the moment kind of, and I haven't Googled him lately, but I think the moment got a little big for Curt Cignetti, to be quite honest.
Yeah, he coached a bad game.
He did. He did. Hey, I'll tell you now, Marcus Freeman has done work up there because there were some hurt feelings and some broken relationships, and Notre Dame's has go back to our boy Neville's quote from Raising Arizona. They're in the catbird seat. They got talent coming in every year, and until Greg Sankey puts his foot down and says the only way you can get in the playoff is to be in a conference, Notre Dame, you got to pencil Notre Dame in as a top 12 team from now till whenever, if they're not going to have to be forced to play in a conference.
You know what? That brings up an interesting point. Let's go look at Notre Dame's future schedules here. What is the FBS? Yeah, here we go, right here. Let's go. Here we go. FBS. Well, Independent and Notre Dame. So let's just look at next year for Notre Dame. All right. At Miami to start, the rematch with the Aggies in South Bend, then Purdue, then at Arkansas, then Boise State, then USC, Navy, at Boston College, NC State, Syracuse, and at Pitt. Okay, so you're only playing one military school next year. Actually, next year's schedule is pretty tough. I mean, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ACC teams with Miami.
Well, that's pretty regular. They normally split their schedule
5
into
ACC.
half of the ACC since they did that kind of co-op partnership.
Right. Well, they've got 2 SEC at Arkansas, A&M, and home. Now, obviously, they're picking at the bottom of the barrel in the Big Ten with Purdue, but then they've got USC. So I got no complaints. That's a pretty good schedule next year. Let's see, 2026, Notre Dame, Wisconsin at Lambeau, Sparty at home, at Purdue, at UNC, Navy in Foxborough, at USC, at FSU, Miami at home, Syracuse at home, SMU at home. So it looks like their future schedules are a lot tougher than they had this year.
But that's all dependent on whether Lincoln Riley and USC is going to realize what they're supposed to be.
Right.
Because if USC stinks, then the Notre Dame schedule takes a huge step back.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You would think Riley is going to get it together, but it's been.
He's going to get it together. He's going to get his bags packed.
Oh, that's for sure.
I mean, honestly, USC is one of like 4 or 5 teams that should never suck.
Right.
And that's just period. End of conversation. Yeah. But I was impressed with Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame's got the second biggest injury moving forward.
Oh, the pass rusher.
The D lineman. That's no es bueno. Now, I don't think it's going. Well,
but he's their third. He's their third D lineman with a season-ending injury, and they're already down the All-American corner Benjamin Morrison as well. So, I mean, those injuries are adding up. But moving to SMU Penn State, my God, Jennings was so bad. I mean, they had first and goal twice. Did they have it twice in the first half? Well, they were not first and goal, but they threw he could have run for the 4th down. Instead, he throws an interception. I mean, the 2 pick sixes to start. And I mean, he had to have thought of yanking for Preston Stone, right? At some point, but he never did. Not that I don't know.
He didn't. And Lashley had a great year, but again, a moment that was too big for the program and the people. And because here's how bad Jennings played. He made James Franklin look look wise in a big game. And James Franklin didn't have to do anything but say, hey, go intercept the ball and run it back for a touchdown.
And what's Franklin going for it on his own 20 with a 14-0 lead given to you by your defense? Your offense hadn't done anything all day, and you're just going to give SMU that momentum. And but SMU couldn't take advantage. Yeah, so that was just the blowout city. That thing was over late second quarter. And then Clemson came out, strong opening drive, really strong opening drive. And I thought we had a ball game on our hands, but now they go up 20, they scored 21 unanswered. Clemson got a field goal, and then you can't give up that touchdown drive before half. To their credit, it's a one possession game with 11:43 left, but then the first play, Jaden Blue, 77 yards, and that was the funnest game by far.
Yeah, by far.
But you can't let them run for 292 yards on you. And Texas was very impressive. Wisner and Blue both going for over are going triple digits in the rushing department, and it goes over. And let's see. So the first two games had gone under. The last two went over. Anything on Clemson, Texas, before we talk about the Vols getting pimp slapped?
Three things actually on Clemson, Texas. One, you referenced Notre Dame and they're piling up injuries. It is a true testament to how Sark has been accumulating talent down there, because they run for 290 and change. And these are running at the beginning of the year. These are running backs 3 and 4, right? That were on the depth chart because of the injuries and the defections and all the things that went with it. The second thing is I actually think Dabo did as good a job this year, especially the back half of this year. And I'm not a big Dabo fan, but I think he really elevated a program that needed it. And we as college football fans, and you and I are fans every bit as much as we are pundits or gamblers or whatever it is we want to call ourselves in this day and age. The immediate pleasure reaction of the college football fan and the short-term memory of all things that were good. I mean, Dabo hears blowback. I've seen people online talking about Josh Heupel. Is he the right guy at Tennessee? Which is nuts.
That is nuts.
I mean, Quinn Ewers had one mediocre to bad SEC championship game. He was great against Clemson now. Yeah. Quinn Ewers looked like a dude against Clemson. And then my final question for you is this. Who is a bigger celebrity football camera hog, Taylor Swift or Matthew McConaughey? I've had my fill of Wooderson.
Push.
I've had my fill of Wooderson at this point. All right. How about moving along and let's do something different?
Come on. Yeah. Come on. Why is he on the sidelines every game?
Seriously.
Yeah. No, I'll call it a push. So Ohio State just did not come out messing around at all. 21-0 down to Tennessee's credit. They score all 10 points in the second. Made it somewhat, had a little hope going in the second half, but that hope got absolutely destroyed quickly, and they get a garbage touchdown late. They got their fannies smacked badly.
I got two things for you. The first one's going to make you smile because it's going to make you remember when the Ohio State right now has what Spurrier had at the peak of his powers in the mid-1990s. They've got so many future NFL dudes running pass patterns that they can get to the line of scrimmage, look who your worst corner is trying to cover, and then go pick that scab till you bleed out. And because they've got their wide receiver room, maybe the greatest single position group in all of college football. The other is, and I don't think enough people are saying this, as great as Ohio State played, there's not a team in the tournament. There's not a team that we could talk about through the last decade plus that if you lost the SEC Player of the Year one series into a playoff game, a BCS game, any of these things, that would really hurt you. Nobody's talking about enough, in my opinion, that Dylan Sampson was done midway through the first quarter. So that
Right.
completely overhauls what Tennessee is now trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he only got 2 carries the whole game. Yeah.
And hey,
That
he had 2 carries, and I'll go over on the number of concussions Nico Amaliava had. I mean, that dude was putting his head in there and running and giving him everything. Hell, they broke one of his helmets. Did
yeah.
you see that early on when they had like a
Yeah.
crack like that long in his above the
Yep.
team?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I still don't trust Will Howard. He looked good last week, but I still don't trust that guy.
If you're going to throw to those dudes, I mean, the only receiving core I know that's better than that plays for the Minnesota Vikings or the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you're going to throw to those dudes and you're not getting invited to New York, you underachieved.
And by the way, I don't know that I'd ever seen Devontae Smith drop a pass, and boy, he dropped a big one last week that cost him the freaking game. Wow, I could not believe he never dropped a pass against the Gators. I know that, not a one.
He didn't drop it against the Tigers either.
I don't know if I've ever seen him drop a pass, and he dropped. I mean, it was victory formation if he catches that. Wow. All right. So let's go to the 4 playoff games this week. Then we'll backtrack to the bowls involving SEC teams. So we start off New Year's Eve, and we have Penn State at Boise State. Our friends at Bet Online have Penn State at 11 with a total of 52, and Boise State on the money line is plus 345. And in the first half, Penn State's a 6.5 point favorite with a total of 26.5. All right, what do you got, Jay?
I think at some point James Franklin's going to James Franklin, and I mean I think 11 points, and you've got the best player on the field in the running back at Boise State. Give me those points, and because all Penn State has to do is figure out a way to get to the next one. 3 points is the same thing as 33. So, and I think Franklin's sphincter is going to tighten like the nuts on the basketball goal. My father-in-law and I put up outside the kids in the driveway this after Christmas. So, no, I'm pretty fond of Boise State in this spot.
I agree 100%. I am on Boise State plus the 11. And just to remind folks, because it was way back in week 2, but the only loss for Boise State came at Oregon. Boise led or got a field goal to start the scoring. Oregon answered with a touchdown. Boise, first minute of the second quarter, answered with a touchdown to take a 10-7 lead. Oregon answered with a touchdown to make it 14-10. Boise answered with a touchdown to make it 17-14 with 4:51 left in the second. They added a 20-yard field goal with 2 seconds left. So, I'm assuming they had, I don't remember, but I mean, I'm assuming they had a couple shots at the end zones there. Oregon in the third quarter outscores them. Is it 15-0? Oh, no. I'm sorry. 13-0. Because they had a missed extra point, but and when they missed the extra point, they made it 20-all mid-third, and then they had an 85-yard punt return for a touchdown. Oregon did, that is, to go up 27-20. Genty answers with a 70-yard touchdown run, make it 27-all. Genty gets an 8-yard touchdown with 10:15 left to go up 34-27, and then Oregon gets a 100-yard kickoff return to tie it. So Oregon got 2 special teams touchdowns worth 185 yards, and then they get a walk-off 25-yard field goal. Boise State out first down them 19-16, outrushed them 221-109, and Oregon had a 243-148 advantage passing. So, and Boise missed a field goal. I don't know how many yards it was, but they missed a field goal. So to say Boise could have won at unbeaten Oregon would be an understatement. They should have won. So, yeah. And let's see, who else did they play of note? Well, Washington State was pretty decent this year. They beat them 45-24. And then there's UNLV. They won 29-24 on the road, and they won 21-7 at home in the conference championship game. So, yep. We both like Boise. All right, for the next day at 1 p.m. Eastern, Peach Bowl, Atlanta, Texas, Arizona State. Bet Online has Texas minus 13.5, total of 52. ASU on the money line, plus 395. And the first half line is
8.5, 9.
Oh, wait, what happened there? All right, let's see first half. What's going on here? Why is it not showing it to me? Oh, here we go. Took a minute. Let's see. Sorry, guys. 7. Texas minus 7 in the first half.
The best way I know to handicap this in the most insightful and direct football lingo that I can use is everybody needs to schedule their New Year's Day dinner, lunch with family at about 1:45, because this thing's going to be an ass whipping from the get. And hey, Dillingham did a great job. He may not have one of the 10 best players on the field in this one. So I love Texas. If you can get it 7 or less than 7 in the first half, I love that. You also got to remember, this is a West Coast team going and playing a 1 o'clock kick on an Eastern time zone. So I think Texas steamrolls Arizona State.
I'm on the other side. I like ASU catching this big number. They have won 6 in a row, both straight up and against the spread, and are 8-1, both straight up and against the spread in their last 9. 2, 3, 4 of the wins by double-digit margins, including at Kansas State, who was one of the more talented Big 12 teams. And I just like Scatterboo to be able to run the ball. Let me look at what Texas ranks in run defense real quick. Sorry, 1 second. Here we go. All right. 10th in the nation against the run. But I thought Florida ran it pretty good against them with a third-string quarterback. I think ASU will, make it a respectable game and cover, but Texas wins and advances. So, and that's not a big opinion of mine at all. But and also got to be where you can buy the half point to 14. So if it were to move to 12.5 and you hadn't bet it yet, forget about it. It's got to be 14 for me, and it's not a big opinion. All right, then at 5 that afternoon, Rose Bowl, Ohio State, Oregon. Bet Online has Ohio State 2.5, total of 55. Oregon on the money line is plus 115. All right, what do you think?
Well, I know, and neither one of us, if we were NFL GMs, I'm not looking to figure out a way to draft Will Howard, but I think Ryan Day's pretty motivated, and I think Ohio State's probably the most talented team in the country. If you, in my opinion, if you can find the Buckeyes under a field goal, that 100% is where I go with this game.
If I can get 3, I like Oregon, but I don't love it. I'll have a small play on it. I like the over. It's 55. I'm assuming we're going to have great weather in Pasadena, per always.
Right.
Earlier in the year, what they play, 32-31 for 63. Right. I'm trying to. Where did? Okay.
I like that. I truly like that. No kidding. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. I like them both, to be quite honest, but I think your over insight makes plenty of sense.
Yeah. That's what I like. So it's a 32-31 game, and at halftime it was 22-21 Oregon. They only had 1 touchdown in the third, and hell, it was 20. It was to 57 with 13:20 left on a Dylan Gabriel touchdown run. And let's see. And Oregon missed a field goal in the game. So I think I think both offenses are going to have a lot of success. I like the over, and I like Oregon if you can get 3. So that's where I'm at. Sounds like Jay likes the over, and he likes Ohio State a lot more than I like Oregon. All right, now this is the one where I am break out the hammer, baby. Let's put some units on this one. Give me Georgia all day long. I've already got it at pick on minus 120. Right now, Bet Online's got Georgia minus 2 and 44. I still like it at minus 3 or less. And that's where I'm at. It's going to be my biggest bet of the bowl season. Although I'm pretty high on Boise State, too. But my Arizona State opinion is small, and my Oregon opinion is small, and my over on that game is probably only like medium. But this is hammer time on the Georgia Bulldogs.
I completely and totally agree. I also am starting to look around and seeing what kind of numbers you can get on Georgia winning the whole thing. I think Kirby Smart and his unyielding defense of his team has galvanized the locker room of future NFL dudes to a place that I think Georgia is going to be a handful for everybody. And heck, let's be real here. I know Carson Beck is now lost for the season, but Carson Beck wasn't that good this year.
No.
I mean, this may be addition by subtraction in a lot of ways because we all know Gunnar Stockton was a 5-star dude coming out of high school, and he's now going to get his time to shine. Georgia may be the one team that benefited the most by the bye week, so they had extra time to get find comfort, and Mike Bobo can make certain he knows exactly what Gunnar Stockton wants to run and and put him in the best position for success. But no, I think Georgia steamrolls Notre Dame.
Yep. I'm not against some alternate lines at better odds. I'm not against the first half. Now, I don't know about the team totals because I don't really know how Stockton's going to play, but
I wouldn't go much higher than a touchdown because I think Kirby's going to be. I mean, I don't disagree with you on the alternate lines, and I honestly think I may be as attracted to the first half Georgia number as I am the game because I think Kirby's going to have those dudes whipped into a lather, and Riley Leonard has no idea the athleticism he's about to see in that Georgia defense.
Yeah, I'm going to play Georgia in the first half, but not nearly as much as I played Georgia for the game. And the alt line, I like what you said, up to minus 6.5, but even minus 6.5 should get you at least plus 220 or so, I would think. Right. Maybe even a little better than that. So, yeah, those are my plays right there. And with that, let's take a little timeout. Are you an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify? Or are you an employee that's simply tired of answering to the man, ready to bet on yourself? If so, let me tell you about our guy, Andy Ludecke, and his business, MyPerfectFranchise.net. Andy had it with corporate America a long time ago, wanted to start his own business, did just that. Now he's got multiple businesses, and he can help you do the same thing. Here's how it works. You go to Andy's website, MyPerfectFranchise.net. You're going to set up an intro call, 1-hour consultation, 100% free. You're going to tell Andy about your passion, your skills, goals, all the time and money you have to invest in this endeavor. And then Andy's going to figure out what sort of business fits your DNA. He's going to register you a potential franchise and find the best franchise that suits the vision and corporate culture you want. And before you know it, you're going to be on your way, and Andy will have you making greenbacks galore. So what are you waiting for? Reach out to our guy, Andy, at MyPerfectFranchise.net. All right, let's dip into the non-CFP bowl games, and we'll start with Oklahoma and Navy Armed Forces Bowl, Fort Worth, Texas. So that's where TCU plays, and Oklahoma -3 to Navy. Total is 42.5. And well, I'll let you go ahead if you have any thoughts there.
I do. I actually like every part of this game for Navy. I think nobody you can. We talk frequently about always in bowl games trying to gauge motivation was a big factor. Well, now it's motivation and participation. Army and Navy are not going to get hit through about the portal. And we know they're going to show up because they're on a limited time clock of how many games they've got left. I think Army and Navy, I'll play them in every bowl game from now until the cows come home.
Yep. So Oklahoma, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starters have hit the portal. The stud linebacker Danny Stutzman has opted out. The safety Billy Bowman has opted out. So that's 7 starters gone. And let's see. Okay, so just 7 starters for now, but Navy won't be missing anybody. And so
it's a chance, Brian, for Navy's first 10-win season in a hot minute.
Since they had Keenan McReynolds.
Yes, yeah.
Say.
The kid from Birmingham who ran the option like nobody's business.
Yeah, let me make sure I got that name correct. Because I would hate because he made me a lot of money. And if I'm not saying his name correct, I owe him an apology. Oh, Keenan Reynolds, not McReynolds. So, yes, I'm glad I looked it up. All-time leading rusher in Navy history. Okay, it's a pass for me. I just don't. I'm not again. I like Jay's thought process. Probably just a pass for me. All right, later that day, and we're talking about the 27th. Oh, so we're talking about tomorrow.
Yes.
Texas Tech and Arkansas, Liberty Bowl in Memphis. Bet Online has it as a pick'em, total of 52. Okay, I've got all sorts of little tidbits for you on this one. First off, Texas Tech's OC, Zach Kitley, he gone, head coach at FAU. They fired Tim DeRuyter, the former head coach at Fresno State, who was their OC. He gone. One starting offensive tackle is gone to the portal. Another offensive tackle with 488 snaps, Dalton Merriman, is gone. And then there's some guys with, more than 150 snaps, a few guys that are gone. But most importantly for Texas Tech, Baron Morton is going to miss the bowl game. He had surgery. So freshman Will Hammond, will start in his place. And let's see, both starting defensive tackles are out for Texas Tech, and their wide receiver Josh Kelly opted out. However, Arkansas, good gravy. Andrew Armstrong, stud receiver. Jaquindon Jackson, stud running back. Defensive end Landon Jackson, one of the best pass rushers in the SEC going back 3 years. Defensive tackle Eric Gregory have all opted out. And I think it's like 28 guys in the portal. They only have 6 healthy offensive linemen, period. Tyrone Broden, the receiver, is doubtful. And the season snap counts for the that are starting on the depth chart. Running back Rodney Hill, only 115 snaps. Monty Harrison, wide receiver, only 58 snaps. Wide receiver C.J. Brown, 42 snaps. So you got 2 guys starting at receiver with 58 and 42 snaps. I lean Texas Tech might have a little bit on them. What you think?
I don't see any way. I think I would rather whatever you're going to put down on your normal bowl picks, I would take that to the MapCo or your corner convenience store, buy some scratch offs, or buy a Powerball ticket for that $1.15 billion drawing on Friday night, because it's impossible to have any gauge on what either of these teams are going to look like.
Correct. But I'll just throw out a lean to Texas Tech. All right, we ready to move on?
Yep.
All right. Diego! He's back.
Diego Pavia.
Go ahead.
Diego Pavia. Hey, the lawsuit, did you see the NCAA granted all eligible folks? I tell you, the ripple effects are far more reaching in other sports than they are in football. Because think how many baseball players now get an extra year of eligibility. Think how many, like Chad. I know Chad Baker-Mazara and Chaney Robinson or Chaney Johnson for Auburn's number 2 ranked basketball team played JUCO basketball. They now have an extra year of eligibility if they want it. I mean, Diego Pavia, this is a Kurt Flood type of ramifications moving forward.
Yeah. Yep. But to this game, BetOnline's got Georgia Tech 2.5 and 50.5. However, there are some books at 3. So if you're looking to bet Vandy, shop elsewhere. But if you like Georgia Tech, BetOnline is where you want to be. In fact, looks like a couple other offshores have 2.5, but it looks like the main books, Circa, Westgate, South Point, and then obviously the DraftKings, FanDuels are at 3. And okay, so Singleton is out, this number 1 receiver or number 1 player in the portal, I think, that signed with Auburn. So let's see, 4 starters for Georgia Tech, a safety, Romello Height, linebacker, and left tackle Corey Robinson. They're all gone, transferred to, Power 4 programs. And injuries. All right, we've got starting linebacker Kyle Efford is out for Tech, and a couple other injuries. But Vanderbilt, got hit with like 10, 12 guys to the portal. I don't think many of them were that major. Now, they did lose starting offensive tackle Gunnar Hansen, who signed with FSU, and Diego's backup Nate Johnson from Utah before he transferred to Vandy. He's gone. Now, it says potential opt-outs, Eli Stowers and DeRicky Wright. I would think they'll play. It's not like you're going to be first-round picks. So, Haynes King is playing. I lean Vanderbilt.
You know how his shoulder looks? Have you seen anything about – Haynes King playing and then Haynes King being able to be a true dual threat were not the same thing through the month of November, you know it?
But he's had a month now since that Georgia game, and he played. Yeah, so I think he's probably good to go, don't you?
These are 2 of my favorite quarterbacks to really watch and to back. I know Vandy was, I think, like 8-4 against the number this year, and Tech had a winning record against the spread, but maybe not quite that good. But it felt like almost every time I backed them, either one of these, they ended up cashing checks for me. It's like a betting dad picking against 2 of his kids.
Right. Right. Yeah. I concur. They're both good. Both these teams were good to me, but Singleton being gone is a pretty big deal.
It is a big deal
for Tech. And I'm leaning Vandy. I'm not saying it's a major opinion. And Vandy's fired up to be at a bowl game. Big time.
I think Tech is too, though.
Sure. But they did get one last year.
Brent Key completely – because I know Clark Lee came in and has done some work, but nobody had the complete crap sandwich that he had to tell everybody was PB&J like Brent Key did after Geoff Collins. Tech was a disaster.
Yeah. They were. And he turned it around. And this will be more. I think,
as a show, don't we have a rule that you can't go against Diego Pavia?
Yeah, we do have that rule. This is going to be a fun game, though. I like this game. It's tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern. I'll have a little on Vandy. Might be a good game to live bet because I don't think either team's going to blow the other out. If either team, gets a decent lead early, and you can get either one as a decent underdog, might not be a bad move. But I'm gonna have some pregame. Well, yeah, we have a rule here. I'm on Diego Pavia. All right, later tomorrow night. How many games do we have tomorrow? Do we have like a 5?
There are more than one tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well,
like a 5.
Have you seen the NFL schedule? The NFL schedule,
Yeah.
they've got like a triple header on Saturday. There's going to be like 5 games total on Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we need to get going because I got to get to my NFL picks. This is one of my favorite cards of the year in the NFL. All right, A&M at USC tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday night, 10:30 Eastern. Bet online, A&M -4 to the Lincoln Riley Southern Cal Trojans. Total is 51.5. So I'm just going by this bowl opt-out tracker that I'm getting from Action Network. And I don't know. All right, so the opt-outs, 3D linemen are gone for A&M, including Nick Scorton, the All-SEC guy. To the portal, we've got 2 starting receivers for USC. And a right tackle, Mason Murphy, who's already signed with Auburn. Opt-outs, cornerback Kalen Smith and running back Woody Marks, formerly of Mississippi State fame. And, yeah, there you go. I don't like this game. I hate this game.
well,
It's a
if
strong
I'm
pass.
up and need a little action on it, I'm going A&M just because I think Elko in year 1 is going to be a little more motivated to galvanizing the troops than what Lincoln Riley is in a what is really a meaningless bowl game.
Yes, correct. All right, scrolling down, looking for more SEC teams. And I have Iowa, Missouri on Monday. Missouri -3 at Bet Online. And let's scroll down to the opt-out tracker here. I know Burden has opted out. And it looks like right tackle Armin Membu has also opted out, and linebacker Chuck Hicks, but he only had 270 snaps. And let's see, starting center Connor Tollison, he's out for the year. He's been out for the year. Same with the wide receiver Mookie Cooper and Brett Norfleet, the tight end, will miss the game as well. But not a ton of guys hitting the portal for Missouri. As for Iowa, starting corner Jeremiah Harris has opted out, and running back Caleb Johnson, who was one of the best running backs in the country, he has opted out. I don't love it, but I'll be on Missouri for a little bit as long as it's 3 or fewer.
Well, and you can find it if you do your shopping. I don't know exactly what our buddies have it at, but I've seen some numbers under 3. And at that number, I really like Missouri just because, I mean, you're talking about a guy in Brady Cook who is going to be on the short list of the best players, best careers anyway. That is
great history.
Yeah. So I think there's some motivation. And Eli Drinkwitz is kind of dorky in the way that I really think he thinks this means a whole lot. You know what?
Well, 10-win seasons at Missouri are
absolutely
cool.
No. I mean, I think it means a fair amount too. So I guess I'm kind of dorky, but I'm talking about in terms of really preparation and by comparison. I mean, Kirk Ferentz doesn't give a doggone about this. I mean, guy's been doing it since. I mean, he was like calling plays for Newt Rockne, I think. I mean, damn, he's been around a long time.
Right. All right. So it's moving on to Alabama, Michigan. This is New Year's Eve day at noon Eastern. Alabama's 11.5 at Bet Online, total of 43. Now, Bet Online is where you want to go to bet Bama because it's 12.5 at most other shops. So Alabama has lost a considerable amount to the portal. Malachi Moore is out, all SEC, but Milroe's is going to play. A lot of the potential opt-outs sounds like they're all going to play. Now, they did have some season-ending injuries like Deontay Lawson, and like I mentioned, Moore is out. And as for Michigan, looks like starting receiver Tyler Morris hit the portal. They've got 5 guys have opted out. 3 of their studs on defense. Obviously, Will Johnson, he went stretch. Running back Donovan Edwards has opted out. Tight end Colston Loveland. So Michigan's, they got their better players opting out. I think it's Alabama or pass. If I could get 11, I'd probably do Alabama.
I completely agree. It's Alabama or a pass. And because this game's under 2 touchdowns just because of the emotional win over the Ohio State, but it kind of masks over what was really a forgettable year in year one for Sharon Moore. So no, this is Alabama or pass for me. There, I don't even know if you could put a number on there that I would play Michigan. I mean, so, but I don't really trust a whole lot of what we've seen from Alabama, especially with the defections.
Yep. All right. On New Year's Day at 3 p.m. Eastern, South Carolina and Illinois in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl. BetOnline has the Gamecocks 9.5 and 47.5. Illinois opt-outs, wide receiver Pat Bryant, and they've got doesn't look like they've been hit too hard by the portal, or that's on this opt-out list, but D lineman hit the portal. Now, whether he's going to play in the bowl, I don't know. Kyle Kennard made his money. He is gone. He's opting out. But Nick Imanwari says he'll play. I doubt Rocket Sanders is going to play. We shall see. But lean South Carolina. Don't know that I'll play it. I'd be more in with like a money line parlay, maybe, or a teaser.
Well, and folks need to follow you on Twitter because you do a real good job of updating that in real time. Your Twitter address is down there. I will probably be on South Carolina just because I think they're deeper, and I think Little Beamer's going to figure out a way to motivate them to show with under the umbrella of let's show the playoff committee that we should have been there kind of number. And I mean, dang, the way the quarterback played the back half of the year, he's the best player on the field, right?
Moving on. Sorry for the technical difficulties. All right, we've got Baylor LSU at NRG Stadium, my personal house of horrors. The Texas Bowl, New Year's Eve, 3:30 Eastern. Baylor -1.5 to LSU. Total of 59. LSU opt-outs, both offensive tackles, tight end Mason Taylor, wide receiver Kyron Lacey. There's also a lot of potential opt-outs, which, probably going to wait till closer to kick. But Nussmeier's coming back. He'll play, so that's huge. It's passed till I know more personnel intel.
Well, the only way I'm playing is LSU, but I completely agree. And we're shooting ahead towards games toward games that is between now and the next time we reconvene. So a lot of this, again, follow us on Twitter and we'll update. But I will not play Baylor as long as Nussmeier's playing. So it's the LSU or pass for me. But I'm not real keen on a whole lot of these games that are still 5, 6, 7 days out. And who knows who's going to walk into a coach's office and say, you know what, coach, I'm out.
All right, folks, sorry for the internet technical difficulties there the last few minutes. So Jay signed out. I'm just going to conclude with my NFL picks for the week. All right, I'm going to start with the ones I like the most, and there are 3 of those. Detroit Lions team total over 27.5 at San Fran. That's Monday Night Football. Lions number 1 in the NFL in scoring, 32.9 points per game. Last 3 games, they've scored 34, 42, and 34. And unlike their defense, they're healthy on offense with the exception of David Montgomery. But Jahmyr Gibbs, in his absence, played great last week, 109 rushing yards. Also had 4 catches and 45 receiving yards. So Detroit's team total over 27.5, 0-1 last stat. Last 6 games, Jared Goff, 17-1 TD-INT ratio. All right, let's go Washington Commanders. We're going to bet them 3 ways. The biggest bet being -4 for the game. And then like a medium amount on Washington team total over 26.5. a medium amount on Washington -3 in the first half, and a small amount on Washington team total over 13.5 in the first half. They're going to beat the brakes off of my Falcons, who they did win at Las Vegas. The Falcons did, but last 4 road games, 1-3 straight up, 0-3-1 ATS, and the games before the win over Las Vegas, they were just getting smashed. Got killed at Minnesota 42-21, got really pimp slapped at Denver, and lost outright at New Orleans as a favorite. So all about the Commanders every which way you want. Let's also go Bengals team total over 13.5 in the first half. The Bengals in their last 7 games, here's what they've scored by halftime. 17 last week versus Cleveland, 24 at Tennessee, 17 at Dallas, 21 versus Pittsburgh. Here's the outlier, only 6 at the Chargers, but then 14 at Baltimore and 17 versus Vegas. So 4 in a row and 6 of 7. They've had at least 14 points at halftime. And the last 4 in a row, they've had 17 or more at halftime. Let's also go with the Chargers -4 at New England. Chargers, they are 4-3 straight up, 5-2 ATS and 7 road games, but 2 of the 3 losses by 4 combined points. New England's lost 5 in a row, and at home this year, 1-5 straight up, 2-3-1 ATS. Give me the Chargers -4. Also, if you want to do a money line parlay, I like the Chargers in a money line parlay. I like the Rams in a money line parlay. I like the Commanders. And then you could add Buffalo. And I don't know who's playing quarterback with Philly, so I'll leave that out. So all those teams. And then I know Green Bay's hot, but they're on a short week. So, and this is not a huge play, more like a medium, smallish medium. But I got to go Minnesota, pick them or +1 at home to Green Bay. And yeah, I think that'll do it. For Jay Greeson, I'm Brian Edwards. Best of luck with your bets. Thanks for joining us. Hit that thumbs up, like button if you want. And thanks for Southeastern 16, Max, for editing. The internet issues may give you some challenges, Max. For Jay Greeson, I'm Brian Edwards. Over and out. Talk to you next week.